Welcome to History Channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. In 1924, Bertrand Milbourne Clark made history as the first black man to compete at Wimbledon, long before Arthur Ashe broke barriers in the same arena. Nearly forgotten by time, his rediscovered photograph and records tell the story of a trailblazer who defied racial boundaries in one of the world's most exclusive sports. During a live television debate in Tokyo in 1960, Japanese politician Inajiro Asanuma was assassinated by a 17-year-old nationalist named Otoya Yamaguchi. The shocking act, captured on camera, sent waves across Japan and became one of the most haunting moments in the history of televised political violence. A clam seller stands in Mulberry Bend, the heart of New York's Little Italy, around 1900. His worn face and weathered hands reveal the harsh life of immigrant workers who kept the city streets alive with trade, hope, and survival amid the crowded tenements of Lower Manhattan. A rare image of Edgar Allan Poe, taken before 1843 and later reproduced in the New York Herald in 1905, shows the melancholy author whose tales of mystery and madness would shape American literature forever. His expression, both weary and distant, mirrors the troubled genius that defined his legacy. In 1966, Chinese leader Mao Zedong swam across the Yangtze River in Wuhan, an event widely publicized to symbolize his vitality and the strength of the Chinese Revolution. Thousands followed him into the river, a carefully staged moment that became one of the defining images of Mao's enduring political power. This burned theater in the German-occupied city of Artemovsk, USSR, photographed in December 1942, stands as a silent witness to the destruction of war. Once a place of art and laughter, its charred remains tell the story of culture erased by conflict during the brutal winter of World War II. On September 9, 1944, soldiers of the U.S. 2nd Infantry Division advanced through the outskirts of Brest, France, under heavy machine gun fire. The operation was part of the Allied push to liberate Western Europe, and these men faced deadly resistance as they fought through rubble and fortified German defenses. In November 1947, aviator and industrialist Howard Hughes piloted the Spruce Goose H-4 flying boat on its first and only flight in Long Beach, California. The massive wooden aircraft, an engineering marvel of its time, briefly lifted off the water before history recorded it as both a triumph and a myth. In 1999, filmmaker Kevin Smith humorously joined protesters outside a New Jersey theater showing his own movie, Dogma, holding a sign and blending into the crowd. He mocked the controversy over his film's religious themes, creating a memorable and ironic moment in modern cinema history. In June 1943, African-American G's arrived in Bamber Bridge, England, where they were welcomed as equals by the locals. Despite racial segregation in the U.S. Army, the soldiers found solidarity abroad, a sharp contrast that later inspired reflections on race, justice, and unity during wartime. Ottoman soldiers pose outside the Dome of the Rock within Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa compound around 1889. The image captures a rare moment of calm amid an era of shifting empires, preserving a visual record of faith, tradition, and the enduring presence of the Ottoman Empire in the Holy City. On October 11, 1975, Saturday Night Live premiered on NBC, introducing a new era of live sketch comedy. Created by Lorne Michaels and hosted by George Carlin, The show's daring humor and unpredictable performances changed American television and launched countless iconic careers in entertainment. The Swiss writer and photographer Annemarie Schwarzenbach, captured by her close friend Marianne Breslauer during a 1933 road trip to Spain, reflects a haunting elegance. Their journey symbolized freedom and friendship during a turbulent time in Europe, revealing a woman whose restless spirit defied the norms of her age. In this 1890s photograph, Mark Twain sits at breakfast, looking relaxed yet contemplative. Behind his humor and wit was a man deeply aware of the changing America he often wrote about. This candid image reminds us that even literary giants found comfort in simple, human routines. In the 1950s, author Ernest Hemingway and actor Gary Cooper share a lighthearted moment. Two icons of American masculinity united by friendship. Their bond, forged through mutual respect, reflected an era when fame and artistry intertwined, both men symbols of rugged independence and creative genius. In 1912, John Schrank was arrested in Milwaukee after attempting to assassinate former President Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt, famously continuing his speech despite being shot, became a legend of resilience. This photo captures Schrank moments after the failed attempt that shocked the nation and solidified Roosevelt's mythic toughness. On June 26, 1994, thousands of gay activists carried a mile-long rainbow banner through New York City, marking the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall riots. The massive display symbolized unity, pride, and decades of struggle for equality, a vivid reminder of how protest can evolve into celebration. The Southampton Memorial to the musicians of the RMS Titanic, unveiled in April 1913, honors the brave orchestra members who continued to play as the ship sank. Their courage in the face of certain death became one of the most enduring human stories of the maritime disaster. This 1967 photograph of the Omicron chapter of Zeta Tau Alpha at Breno College in Gainesville, Georgia, captures a moment of unity and optimism. The young women, dressed with grace and confidence, reflect the growing independence and educational opportunities available to American women during the changing decade. In 1944, Emma Bushy posed with her 8 sons, all of whom fought in World War II and returned home safely. The rare photograph symbolizes extraordinary resilience and family strength. During one of history's darkest times, a quiet victory amid widespread loss and uncertainty. On May 19, 1944, the American B-17G, Miss Donna May II, was struck by friendly fire during a bombing raid over Berlin. A bomb from another plane tore away its stabilizer, sending it into a deadly spin. All 11 crewmen were lost, a tragic reminder of war's brutal chaos. In the icy 1910s, Arctic explorer Vilhjalmur Stephenson drags a seal back to camp across the frozen landscape. His tireless pursuit of survival and discovery in extreme conditions reveals the human will to endure where few could, capturing the stark beauty and isolation of polar exploration. The first known photograph of the Inuit, taken during an 1854 Arctic expedition, offers a rare glimpse into an ancient culture before widespread outside contact. The image preserves a moment of resilience and adaptation in one of the harshest environments on Earth, a testament to human endurance. Company H of the 44th Indiana Infantry poses around 1864, battle-worn but resolute. They fought at Shiloh, Fort Donelson, and Chickamauga, among other key Civil War battles. The image embodies the determination and sacrifice of soldiers who carried the Union, 'cause through some of the war's bloodiest campaigns. In 1914, a woman demanding the right to vote is arrested, her expression fierce and unyielding. This powerful image reflects the courage of suffragists who faced public ridicule and imprisonment to secure equality. Their defiance paved the way for generations of women to have a voice in democracy. This haunting 1974 photograph shows 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York, on the night of the DeFeo murders. The house would later gain infamy through books and films, but that night, it was a grim scene of tragedy that would forever blur the line between fact and fear. Raquel Welch poses in a promotional still for the 1967 film Bedazzled. Her confident expression and timeless beauty reflect the glamour and allure of 1960s Hollywood, an era defined by bold fashion, shifting gender roles, and the rise of modern cinematic icons. In May 1982, members of Poland's Solidarity trade union clashed with Zomo riot police in Warsaw during martial law. Tear gas and water cannons filled the streets as peaceful protesters demanded freedom and workers' rights. The photo captures the moment hope met repression in communist-era Poland's most turbulent chapter. In 1989, President Ronald Reagan laughed as two visitors dressed as a horse entered the White House grounds. The lighthearted moment reflected Reagan's warmth and humor during his final year in office, offering a glimpse of levity amid the serious political atmosphere of the late Cold War years. On May 10, 1945, in Soest, Germany, defeated soldiers of the Wehrmacht laid down their weapons before Allied forces. The moment marked the collapse of Nazi Germany and the end of years of conflict. The photograph stands as a quiet testament to surrender, relief, and the cost of war. Before the tragedy of the Hindenburg, the majestic Graf Zeppelin ruled the skies. In 1928, it circumnavigated the globe and landed in Lakehurst, New Jersey, as a symbol of German engineering and luxury. The airship represented humanity's dreams of flight before the shadow of disaster would end the era. The Great Chicago Fire erupted on October 8, 1871, devouring much of the city over 2 days. Nearly 300 people perished, and over 100,000 were left homeless. The flames transformed Chicago overnight, sparking both tragedy and an architectural rebirth that would redefine the city's skyline for generations to come. In 1940, German soldiers occupied the Polish city of Grudziądz. The photo shows them standing confidently, unaware of the horrors and resistance that would define the years ahead. It captures the cold machinery of occupation, when control, fear, and power merged into one of history's darkest occupations. In March 1922, armed staff from the Star newspaper escorted their delivery trucks through the Witwatersrand region during the violent Rand Revolt. Defying threats and attacks, they risked their lives to deliver news amid chaos, showing the power of the press even in the face of revolution and bloodshed. In 1938, 18-year-old Robert Nixon reenacted a murder for Chicago police. The racist media coverage that followed portrayed him as subhuman. Fueling outrage and inspiring Richard Wright's native son, the case revealed America's deep racial prejudice, turning a crime story into a reflection of systemic injustice and dehumanization. In November 1943, U.S. Navy F-6F Hellcat pilots from Squadron VF-16 celebrated after downing 17 of 20 Japanese planes near Tarawa. Their success helped secure control of the Pacific skies. The photo shows exhausted young men who had faced death and emerged victorious in one of the war's fiercest battles. East Berlin in the 1980s stood as a stark example of communist urban design. Its concrete apartments, uniform architecture, and subdued colors reflected both efficiency and control. Life moved under the watchful eyes of the state, where gray streets whispered stories of survival behind the Iron Curtain. In 1997, the abandoned village in Bosnia stood silent, its empty houses and shattered windows telling stories of loss and exile. The aftermath of war had turned once lively streets into ghostly memories. Nature began reclaiming what conflict had destroyed, leaving behind only echoes of human life. In October 1862, President Abraham Lincoln met one of his generals near Antietam, just days after the bloody battle. Behind him lay captured Confederate flags, silent trophies of victory. The photo captures Lincoln's burden of leadership, a man seeking unity while surrounded by the heavy toll of war. In 1940, German officers examined their issued gear with precision and discipline. The image, taken at the height of Nazi power, reflects the strict organization and industrial might that drove Germany's early war success, unaware of the immense destruction and defeat that awaited them only years later. In 1957, nurses at the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh gathered for a lecture, notebooks in hand. Their focused expressions reflect a post-war generation of women entering modern medicine as science and care evolve together. The scene shows dedication, professionalism, and the quiet strength behind healthcare's compassionate face. In 1967, the commander of an American M48 Patton tank peered through his scope during the Vietnam War. His steady gaze reflected tension and fatigue as battles raged in dense jungles. The image captures both technological power and human uncertainty in one of the most controversial conflicts of the century. In May 1946, Poles expelled from Rudki near Elway were packed into cattle cars heading west to the so-called recovered territories. More than 1 million were displaced after borders shifted under Soviet control. The photo shows silent faces, torn between homeland and survival, as Europe rebuilt itself on grief. In 1965, inside the Milk Bar Benewitz in Johnsdorf, East Germany, customers enjoyed socialist-era milkshakes under portraits of party leaders. These state-run cafes offered affordable meals and a sense of community in the GDR, blending ordinary life with the quiet influence of ideology in everyday spaces. In 1938, Italian migrant workers arrived in Germany to take up agricultural jobs amid rising fascist control across Europe. Their journey reflected both economic need and political pressure, as governments traded labor for loyalty. The photograph captures weary faces stepping into an uncertain future shaped by propaganda and hardship. Captured Soviet soldiers begged for food in a German POW camp in 1941, exhausted and starving. They embody the human cost of the Eastern Front, where millions perished in brutal conditions. This haunting image reveals not victory or defeat, but the shared suffering that defined the war's darkest chapter. In 1946, French doctor Marcel Petiot stood trial in Paris for murdering 27 people. The suitcases filled with victims' belongings were displayed beside him as evidence. Once respected, Petiot had exploited wartime chaos for personal gain. His crimes expose how even educated men could become monsters in desperate times. In June 1936, Soviet leaders carried the urn of writer Maxim Gorky during his funeral in Moscow. Gorky, a symbol of revolutionary literature, was honored with state grandeur. Yet behind the ceremony lay political tension, as Stalin's regime turned art and intellect into tools of propaganda and control. The burnt interior of the Apollo 1 capsule at Cape Kennedy in January 1967 shows the aftermath of a tragic fire that killed 3 astronauts during a test. The image captures the cost of human exploration, the loss that paved the way for safer missions and future triumphs in space. The Italian battleship Roma, photographed during construction in Trieste in 1942, symbolized Italy's naval pride during World War II, equipped with advanced design and heavy armor. It would later meet a tragic fate, sunk by German-guided bombs after Italy's armistice. The image reflects power built amid impending betrayal.